This is the 77 WABC minicast.
All right, you and I are talking to Indy Pedersen. Indy Pedersen had a remarkable experience. He was in Chile. Over there, he saw an orb, something he'd never recognized before, a strange shape, got close to it, saw it start to transition into a different size, different thing. Scared the hell out of him. Turns out these orbs show up at nuclear missile sites in America, and they injure our military that go to investigate them. All of that's terrifying. Now, Eddie Aragon is in New Mexico, near Zorro Ranch. He has a radio show there. He is an expert on all things Epstein. I was stunned and amused at the fact that today Indy Pedersen represents the fact that there's a relationship probably between Jeffrey Epstein, the location of his properties, UFOs. It's like, really? This is like a Saturday morning cartoon. So here's Indy Pedersen, and here's Eddie Aragon. Gentlemen, meet each other. Say hi.
Hello. Indy, nice to meet you. And I've been following your stuff. Thanks for having me on, Walter. Wonderful to be on here. Can't get enough of this topic. And my first question for Indy is talking about ritual sacrifice as it relates to UFOs. Also include consumption. And I know, Indy, you've gone in depth into the files. You and your beloved have discussed this at length, and you almost have to walk away from these unbelievable files. 388 mentions of the word jerky. I know Walter has, him and I have gone back and forth on the story behind the jerky and what has been, referenced there. But could you speak to that with reference to, obviously, New Mexico being a hotspot, Dulce, New Mexico, which I know well, halfway between Roswell and Dulce, with probably about 12 degrees of separation. And by that, I mean actual degrees, because you'd have to kind of go to a variance. But can you speak to that, those, and make the associations between those things?
Yeah, the Epstein files, as you mentioned, are just full of all the jerky images, or descriptions, and horrifying descriptions of what he was doing to children. The most shocking to me was the one where the girl was in her bed, and he's in Epstein's email, he said she's praying to Jesus to save her life. Whoops, WOOPS, unquote. And then his friend says, "Oh, that's the Jesus I'm coming trick." It's really sick. He admits in writing that he killed her. So absolutely horrifying things going on there. And the victims testify of UFOs and being operated on, just like the alien abductions, identical to them. And then there's leading geneticists like you read the Bishop emails, and they were cloning, and they were going beyond that. The next step to cloning is alien-human hybrids.
Are you aware of ley lines as they pertain to UFOs?
I had a doctor, a famous one, call me from Florida out of the middle of nowhere, and claimed that my island property was in a dead center on one of the most important ley lines, and I had no idea what he was talking about. And then I had the locals, when I bought the island property, claim that it's a known UFO base, and I laughed at them because I did not believe in UFOs at the time, and I went ahead and bought it anyway.
Could you describe for us and to Walter and the great audience that he has what ley lines are and why they're so important?
I don't know anything about them other than just a doctor called me out of the blue, and I never even heard of ley lines when the doctor called me. So I couldn't.
So in Australia, so in Australia, this is really important because basically they're the energies that attract UFOs and draw the energies, which is why Dulce is in the ley line, why Zorro Ranch is in the ley line, and obviously in 1947, Roswell also within ley lines. They're the that attract. And the concept is really, kind of, not that old, less than 100 years old. But a lot of ancient societies basically drew these lines. I mean, it's why we have, this is going to sound strange, Walter, but if you go to Chichen Itza in Mexico, or if you go to the Egypt pyramids there, or you go to Teotihuacan in Mexico City, where they just had a murder, by the way, at the very top. It was very interesting. All of those things have very much in common. And it's not just the fact that they're all building pyramids that they can't explain how they were built. It's also the fact that the energies were attracted to them, which is why to this very day people say, those were built by UFOs, people not of this earth, people of higher civilization. So back to the question with regard
you just got my goosebumps and my hair standing on end, because I just realized what the doctor told me about mine being one of the hottest ley lines, most important ley lines on the planet where that island is, and the locals saying that it's a known UFO base match up.
Have you ever heard the term Jericho Labyrinth?
No.
So what is on that island, much like Teotihuacan is with Chichen Itza, is with the Great Pyramids of Giza, is very similar to what the ley lines that are at Zorro Ranch over, unbelievably, in Little St. James as well. Basically, what you have there are the very same types of structures that were created there, except in this particular case, it's a Jericho Labyrinth. So I don't want to get into the details of the weeds on that, but I appreciate, Walter, you taking my call on this, and I think it's a lot of thought.
No, Eddie, you're not done. I'm having too good a time. I want to hear this conversation continue. Don't you go anywhere. That's Eddie Aragon, who's in New Mexico, who is continuing with us for a few more minutes, and Indy Pedersen, who has just put out a brand new book about the astonishing orbs that he personally saw in Chile, that he says hover over our nuclear missile sites. Military personnel go to try to confront them, to see what's going on there, and they attack our military. That sounds like a good reason for the Department of War to be the keeper of UFO information, which is exactly what is taking place. But today, the conspiracy level went up 2 or 3 levels when we learned that Jeffrey Epstein, that his properties matched up with major UFO sighting sites and the ley lines. Now, let me help a little bit with the ley lines. Michelle Gibson, who's on this show at least once a week, an expert in alternative history. Michelle, all of her work is about the ley lines. Her belief is that the reason that the pyramids got built, the reason that the Mexico pyramids got built, was that energy from the ley lines, which is a grid around the earth that carries energy that can be identified with dowsing rods. She believes that they used to be stronger, considerably stronger, and that the people who lived here 5, 6, 7,000 years ago knew how to tap into them more effectively than we do, but also there was more to tap into, and they were able to derive energy from them that could, in fact, levitate those 4-ton blocks. She believes the energy was all here to do all of the construction work, that over time, pollution, construction, those were dissipated. That's her belief. So that's what ley lines are. Now we have married all of the major conspiracies. We have ley lines matched up with the Bermuda Triangle, matched up with Jeffrey Epstein's construction, and the orbs coming from outer space. You hold on a second. You and I are listening to this great conversation in Chicago on WGN Radio.
Midnight Misfits, Walter Sterling, the other side of midnight.
Indy Pedersen, author of a great book that's apparently heavily censored. What's the title of the book again, Eddie?
Sacrificing Humanity by Indy Pedersen.
Sacrificing Humanity by Indy Pedersen, which is on Amazon And it's the first time in history I've heard that an Amazon book has to be searched for with title and author. Is that right, Andy?
Yep, that's been the case up until recently, yes.
How long's it been up on Amazon?
Several months.
And just like in the past week or two, I could search it by title?
For a long time, they didn't put the cover up, and they had it longer than any other book or publisher published. And you put in Sacrificing Humanity, and it wouldn't come up at all.
Eddie Aragon, there's a future for your book.
There is a future. There is a future for humanity as well. We talk about sacrificing humanity, but Walter, there are no coincidences. An amazing way of, just synergizing everything as you put that together so eloquently, which is to say, we married all of these conspiracies. So there's no coincidences. The conspiracies aren't conspiracies. And wait, we just had someone who became a trillionaire, Elon Musk. And wait, how does that relate to that and your great guest that you have with regard to ley lines? Well, you know that in order for us to get to Mars, and it's the very reason why Elon Musk became a trillionaire, is because he promises a colony on Mars by 2050. And there's no reason not to believe him. But in order to do so, and let's just sort of that's a very primitive approach to the types of things that they were attracted to the Earth about. These UFOs came to the Earth 6, 7, 8,000 years ago, ostensibly, right? I mean, based upon the logic that we're sort of deriving from all this, which is unbelievable. So Elon's doing the very same thing, and he knows that there's a certain window and places to land on a sphere. I'm looking at my sphere of Mars right here, and it's just, you have only certain windows to launch into Mars. That's not. How is he going to get 1 million people over there? And then you have all these vertically integrated companies. Well, that's a very primitive approach to more advanced civilizations in our galaxy that have targeted the world, and they are targeting the world by entry points and ley lines and energies that are being in here. So when Indy is talking about this type of stuff, well, are they coming here to prey on us? Are they coming here to start something? Are they coming here to extract something? There's got to be a bigger question as to why us? Why here? Why did they do these things? And how are the most evolved, connected? And Walter, as you've said many, many times here when I've been speaking to you, Jeffrey Epstein must have been the most busiest person on the face of the planet. Was he even human at this point, given what we're talking about? I would just
go ahead.
I would just ask, Indy, in all of this, when he came up with the concept of his book, and he's sort of just, it's amazing. He's already got a book out there talking about sacrificing humanity, and he really doesn't know much about ley lines. He didn't really know much about, he's actually burrowing in and journeying through, much like the listeners here on the radio show tonight who are listening, and they're also doing this, holding our hands as we're guiding through this unbelievable thing. And at the very same time, is it any wonder that Trump is releasing the UFO files at the very same time that the greatest conspiracy on, this God's green earth here is the Epstein files and maybe Zorro Ranch? Indy?
Yeah, Eddie, you helped corroborate a theory that I've had for a while when I tried to figure out the best evidence, as far as I can tell, is when a bunch of feds showed up, military intelligence interrogators, CIA, and so forth, started swarming around me like carrion flies on meat after acquiring the island. And so I interviewed Linda Moulton Howe about this, and she says, if you
my neighbor, by the way, she lives down the street here.
You mean she actually has a home? She doesn't live in a tent?
No, she lives right here in Albuquerque. But
every time I see her on TV, she terrifies me.
I just talked
does
to her on the phone
she mow her lawn? Does she mow her lawn, Eddie?
She does. She keeps up with the CCNRs very nicely, and the HOAs are not reporting her yet. No.
Does she have friends?
Oh, many. I mean,
Really?
they're all here.
Really?
We're amongst friends. This is the UFO community. Yeah.
I guess so. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you. This conversation between the two of you is the best I've heard in months. Please keep going, gentlemen. You and I are talking to Eddie Aragon, a great New Mexican who knows everything that happened at Zorro Ranch, including human jerky. In New Mexico, human jerky. And Indy Pedersen, who actually got up close with a UFO orb. He got to see it start to transfer into something else. It terrified him. He did the homework, and now he's written a book. The name of the book is, Indy?
Sacrificing Humanity.
And these two clearly are on a ley line that connects them, and I'd like them to continue the conversation. Eddie, please, you're doing a great job. Go.
I'll let Indy go as he was. We interrupted him. Indy, continue with the corroboration that you understood that you had government officials showing up, like I believe you said flies on carrion. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Linda, I talked to her on the phone recently, Linda Moulton Howe, and she said if your island is a known UFO base, as the locals were telling you when you bought it, the government is not going to let you own that. And she's correct, because they went through everything you can imagine to sabotage the project, including when I was trying to sell it to a very wealthy billionaire family, one of the wealthiest estates, for $35 million. They sabotaged. They had a Fed wormed his way inside my company. The marketing person in charge of marketing, he would have made almost $7 million on the sale, but the money wasn't important to him. It was more important to sabotage it. And he has a long history, so if there's someone out there with a law firm that has deep pockets and can take on the feds, I have a $105 million RICO case because we have predicate acts. RICO's treble damages, so treble the actual provable damages of $35 million is $105 million.
That's unbelievable. That is reasoning and logic that's not of this earth. Your thoughts on the connection between Area 51, Los Alamos National Labs, which is directly connected to Santa Fe Institute, and the brain drain that has created the first atomic bomb. As you know, that happened right here where Oppenheimer's lab up in Los Alamos, which was picked because of its, if you've seen the movie, which I'm sure you have, Oppenheimer, which was picked for a suitable place for his health, and then it became the place which was the birthplace of the atomic bomb, the most powerful weapon on this earth. So your thoughts on the connectivity between 51, Los Alamos National Labs, and the UFOs?
Well, the S4 Bob Lazar story, it came out recently, as a really good example.
Yeah. My gosh, you're dropping all the right names. Spell his name for people. I will spell it for you. Lazar. Quite possibly the most powerful Joe Rogan podcast. In fact, I believe that Bob Lazar did more for Joe Rogan than Joe Rogan has done for Joe Rogan.
Yes,
Bob Lazar's would you agree?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, Bob Lazar is literally legendary. Walter, he literally connects Los Alamos directly to Area 51, and there's a lot of things, much like what's happened with Indy, happened directly to Bob Lazar. Go ahead. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think Bob Lazar sums that up better than I ever could. He was there where they're reverse engineering the craft in the S4, and there was 9 alien craft there when he was, and that documentary, which they did reproductions of what they looked like, and Bob Lazar said that. Bob, in fact, you live next to Linda. I live really close to Bob Lazar, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Sounds like a dinner party.
At one time
Yeah, that sounds like a dinner party.
It does. It sounds like a dinner party.
Yeah, no turkey is served there, though, Walter. I assure you.
Darn.